Chris Landry on your radio. Of course, you can find him at Landry Football on X, also LandryFootball.com, talking NFL and college. Chris, welcome in. How's it going?
Jack, I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Oh, we're doing good. Just kind of recapping the weekend, looking ahead, and getting everybody kind of gauging the pulse of the room, so to speak, on who everybody kind of favors and likes with these two matchups coming up this weekend. Before we do that, some biggest takeaways for you over the weekend. Let's start with Saturday. The 2-1 seeds were playing. Obviously, Baltimore. It took them a little while to get going. Then they finally got to rolling against Houston. I think Houston's future is extremely bright. You look at the 49ers on Saturday afternoon, Saturday night. The game against Green Bay, it looked like the Packers had them on the ropes there. And then, of course, San Francisco was able to, kind of recalibrate and bounce back. Your thoughts on Saturday's action?
A couple of things to keep in mind. On divisional round, it's where kind of Cinderella just goes asleep. The first round is where you have some surprises, and then that second round is where kind of the cream usually rises to the top, and rarely does that Cinderella make noise. Now, there's something else that I've noticed that's taken place over the years is if you got a bye, usually there's a slow start, and just the layoff and the rhythm, and it maybe being a little tight at home, for whatever, different teams in different situations, react differently. I think we saw some of that. But what I saw in Baltimore was a team that basically dominated the game. They gave up a punt return for a touchdown, or this game's 34-3. Houston didn't get inside Baltimore's territory with their offense. So this was a dominant defensive performance, and we got to kind of remind everybody now that it was 10-10 because of the slow start offensively. I thought they made some really good adjustments, Todd Monken did on offense, and just obviously blew them away. I thought Green Bay missed a real opportunity. I thought Jordan Love played well for the most part. I thought this team played with a lot of emotion. I thought San Francisco played very sloppy on offense. I didn't think Brock Purdy played well at all to the end. I thought he was great at the end and, did what they needed to do. But I thought there were 3 interceptions that Brock Purdy threw that were dropped, that were bad throws. That would be talking maybe a different story. I thought Green Bay missed an opportunity. Yes, they've got a good future. They're the youngest team in the league, and they've got their future quarterback. So it's great, just like with C.J. Stroud you mentioned, the future is good. But I think they're going to look at that and say, well, we missed an opportunity, because I thought the Niners could have been – they were ripe for the taking on Saturday night the way they were playing. And I'm curious to see how they play it this week going forward. But those are my thoughts on Saturday. And then, Sunday, I tell you, I thought the Lions, the Bucks played them well. I thought I felt like Detroit, much like when they played the Rams in the wild card round, that, they managed to respond to each team, but boy, they had a hard time putting them away. And I thought the Bucks were kept alive there. And I thought the grit of the Lions, I thought all of that showed well. I think Jared Goff has played well when they need him to make a play. But I got to give the Bucks a lot of credit. I didn't give anybody in the NFC South any chance of doing anything, and it just goes to show you get in the playoffs, you never know. So the not the literal wild card, but the Cinderella, Bucks, Packers, they played pretty well, and they didn't get it done, but that was pretty good and pretty good effort. Last night, look, I thought going in that because of Buffalo's injuries on defense, that Kansas City was not only better, but appreciably better. I just didn't think Buffalo would be able. The whole narrative was, well, they're in Buffalo. It's going to change now. It's different. And I'm like, you watching this defense, the linebackers were depleted. They had injuries in the secondary. And I thought the defensive line needed to step up, and, boy, they didn't do anything. They couldn't get off blocks. Kansas City ran it down their throat. And I thought, look, if it's not for the fumble out of the end zone by Car Hodeman, this game is over then, and it's a decisive win. I thought Josh Allen was outstanding. There were, like any game, I think there a couple of throws that could have been better, and maybe a decision that could have been better. But the reality is, I thought he played outstanding, and I thought he gave them a chance to win in a game that I didn't give them much hope to. So that's my thought, and I just can't wait. I think we got Baltimore, that's been the best team in the AFC, probably more well-rounded, but with this Kansas City offense, I just put a piece up on LandryFootball.com about how this offense has gotten so much better. I wouldn't count out Kansas City. I'll say this. I like the winner of the AFC. I think those are the two best teams. I want to see more out of San Francisco, and I'm going to need to see more. And I think the weather and Purdy being uncomfortable, he's going to need to play a lot better for them to beat Detroit, and more importantly, if they get by Detroit, to beat what I think is a better AFC team in both options. So that's kind of how I saw the weekend's actions and evaluating the teams. But I do like the fact that we've got, in my view, the best teams, at least how they played out towards the end of the year.
Chris Landry talking NFL weekend. Of course, we've got the AFC, NFC championships coming up this weekend. Monday edition of the program on X at Landry Football, LandryFootball.com. Chris, do you see a path when you look at Detroit for them to get to the Super Bowl, and not only that, for them to win this thing?
They've got a shot, but I think San Francisco's better. I just think that the San Francisco we saw against Green Bay is not going to cut it. That's not going to beat Detroit probably, but I think they're going to play better. I think that Purdy will play better. I think we'll see. The weather forecast is better, but we'll see how that plays out. I mean, look, everybody laughs and we talk about hand size all the time. That's why we talk about it. When you have smallish hands, and we're talking about a late-round draft pick, and Purdy's just out over his skis in terms of what he's accomplished thus far. But you have some of those issues when the ball is wet, and I think if it's a cleaner weather, then I think you'll play better. But I didn't think they played their best on either side of the ball. They're going to have to play better, and I suspect that they will, and I expect them to beat Detroit. I think this is kind of where it ends for Detroit, but I'll say this. I know what I'm going to get out of Detroit. I know that they're good. I know they've got a lower ceiling than San Francisco, but I want to see more consistency out of San Francisco, and they're going to need to play better than last week if they're going to beat them.